welcome to the very first podcast that I've ever done. What makes it different than a video blog? Not too much. I'm hoping that I can kind of gain viewers from two different genres. Jewelry, because I'm a jewelry designer, and knitting, because I knit in my free time. So anyway, let me back up and do a little formal introduction. I haven't named the podcast yet, so till it gets named, welcome to the really creative Lorelei Eurto podcast. I know. It's really hard to name a podcast, as you can imagine. I want to do something clever, but then my friend Kelly reminded me that to capitalize on SEO, I may want to utilize certain words that will show up better in searches online. So I'm still thinking about it. My name is Lorelei Eurto. You can call me Lori, you can call me Lorelei, you can call me Lolo, you can call me whatever you want. And you can find me as Lorelei Eurto on most social media. I'm Lorelei Eurto on Instagram, Ravelry. On Facebook, I'm Lorelei Eurto. On Etsy, I'm LoreleiEurto Jewelry. And my website is LoreleiEurtoJewelry.com or LoreleiEurto.com. So, who am I basically? Who am I? Well, I've been designing mixed media jewelry for almost 10 years, believe it or not. And 4 years ago, I left my job at a local art museum to do jewelry full-time. I worked at the art museum for 10 years. That's what I went to college for in upstate New York. And I had previously, for 7 years, worked on my jewelry business on the side while working full-time, and then it became too hard to balance both, and I became unhappy at my full-time job and had already set up my plan B, so I left the museum, and now I've been doing jewelry full-time for 3 years. And last winter, I got kind of hooked on knitting because my friend Nancy Adams started loom knitting a couple of years ago, and she started showing some really fantastic projects that she was doing. So I picked up some knitting looms and started knitting on looms, and I did a couple of accessories, and I had a good time with it, but I was finding that I wasn't liking the patterns that were available for loom knitting, and I didn't know how to read a pattern, so I had trouble kind of transcribing a pattern that was for regular knitting for the loom. So I had no choice. I had to learn how to knit on needles, and so I just started teaching myself how to knit with YouTube videos, and I bought some books, and I took a Craftsy class online that was really great called Knit Lab, and I have been hooked on needle knitting ever since. I haven't actually gone back to knit on my looms, and I should probably sell them because they're just collecting dust here. But anyway, I'm just looking at my notes here, so it's somewhat organized, the podcast. So anyway, you know, I've been asking myself, why would I want to do a podcast? And the reason, I guess, would be because I tend to fall victim to wanting to do what everyone else is doing. So, and because I kind of fall into a different category, being a jewelry designer that knits, I figure that I have something unique to kind of bring to the table. And, also, it's winter and I work from home, so have limited interaction with people. And so I'm needing another avenue to communicate with my like-minded peers. So This will be a great way to connect with people. People that buy my jewelry, people that don't buy my jewelry, people that want to learn to make their own jewelry, people that knit, people that are learning to knit, people that want to learn to knit. I'm just here to enable you in every form. So this will actually give me a reason to get dressed in the morning and actually brush my hair and take a shower. So anyway, I find that I really love watching YouTube podcasts much more than just recorded voice podcasts. They don't really do anything for me. I'm visual, and I know you might think that that's, interesting, since I'm, when I'm making jewelry, I'm kind of focused on something. Or if I'm knitting, I'm also focused because I can not knit and not look at it at this point. I'm too new. But every once in a while, I like to look up and see, somebody sharing yarn that they got, or a pattern that they just finished, or whatever. So I follow several knitting podcasts, and that led me to find new dyers, and it led me to find new yarn, new Instagram accounts to follow, new Etsy shops to follow, and other new podcasters. So really, there's not enough hours in the day to do all that. And I'm finding it kind of hard to concentrate on my jewelry business when I have all these podcasts and knitting to do. So I am a fairly new knitter, obviously. I've only been knitting for less than a year now. And so I'm sure it'll take some time to build kind of that knitting audience. And I know that there are people that seem interested in learning knitting that follow my jewelry. So I'm hoping that you'll stick with me for the long haul. I don't know how often I'm going to do these. I'm hoping I can do them once every 2 weeks. So we'll see. It is kind of a lot of work. And this one's going to seem pretty long just because it's my first one. I have a lot of things to talk about and show you. Some of my podcasts will probably be heavy on the knitting side versus the jewelry side, and vice versa. Some will be more heavy on jewelry and less on knitting. It just depends on where I'm at the point of recording. So anyway, I wanted to also mention that I really love the idea of cross-pollination of crafts. So I like the idea of introducing my new love of knitting to my jewelry friends, and then introducing knitting to the world of art jewelry. I think it's they both kind of go hand in hand. So my podcasts are going to be broken down into a couple different segments. Each week I'm going to try to stick to an agenda, just so it's not like so random and wonky, although I do like to do stuff like that. So the first up, I'll talk about knitting. I'm going to talk about works in progress that I'm working on. I'm going to talk about recently finished objects. I'll talk about upcoming projects and new yarn acquisitions, and maybe new techniques that I'm learning. I'm also going to talk about jewelry. Maybe what I'm working on that week in the studio. I get into the studio every day, so there's always stuff that I'm working on, and I can definitely talk about that. Most days lately, I haven't really done any publication work, so I'm not really working on anything there. I missed the deadline this week for Jewelry Stringing Magazine for, I think, the summer issue. Dang it. So mostly I work on jewelry that I plan on selling that day in my online stores. So I'll talk about new bead acquisitions and new publications that I'm working on or have come out in. Maybe even teach a technique during the podcast if I can figure out how to do that. And possibly I want to do like what's in my cup. Like today, I'm drinking out of this beautiful little ceramic mug that I got at Anthropology. It's so cute. It's got a nice little painting on it. It's a nice matte finish. I'm just drinking lemon water. It's early in the morning. If it was later in the day, I might be drinking wine because I tend to like wine a lot. And I can share with you, you know, different kinds of wine that I'm trying out or whatever. I'm not really a big tea drinker. I've been drinking it lately. I don't really love it that much. I don't know why. Something about maybe the flavors I'm getting, or I'm not. Is it because I'm not brewing loose leaf? I don't know. Could be. But anyway, it's water today. So I may talk about that stuff. I also thought maybe I would talk about cooking or things in the kitchen that are happening. My husband and I really like to cook, and so it's always nice to share recipes and things of that nature. And most likely I'll be recording my podcast during the day because I kind of have the house to myself. My husband's a teacher, and he comes home, you know, sometimes around 4 or 5 o'clock. So might as well do it during the day so then I don't have to feel awkward by doing that at night when he's around and listening to me. So, oh, excuse me, I need a tissue. So I am, you know, I may mention things like that. Maybe that'll be kind of an up in the air thing, and that will become more clear as I keep podcasting. But let me go ahead and start on my topics for today. So knitting. Show you the projects I'm working on. In this project bags are pretty cool, and I just kind of discovered them recently. And I found this Etsy seller from another knitter on Instagram, and I went to her shop and I just fell in love with the fabrics that she uses, and she makes beautiful, beautiful project bags. Her shop name is Jenna Rose Handmade. And I started this project back on January 13th, so it has been a while, but it's coming along. It's coming along. This is called Southern Spirit by Locatelli. And it's part of her brand new collection that just came out about a month ago or so. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a light gray and dark gray chevron striping. I'm using a fingering weight yarn for this, although her pattern calls, I think, for a sport weight. I didn't know if there was that much difference between the two weights, and I just wanted to use something I had in stock. And I had recently bought this, I actually bought the yarn for the project, so I'm kind of glad that I'm using it, because sometimes I change my mind at the last minute and end up using something else, and then I'm stuck with yarn and I don't know what to do with it. But I'm using this, it's Yoth yarns, and I love it. It is so soft, and the colors I'm using are Sea Salt, which is that light gray color, and Cracked Pepper, which is the dark gray color. This is a really easy project. I have it as my TV knitting. I kind of work on it maybe 5 or 6 rows at a time, and that's why it's taking so long. And also because it's fingering weight, so that's another reason why it's taking so long. I'm a very slow knitter, so this is only like a quarter of the way done. It's probably going to be a shawl that's at least my wingspan, so yeah, I got a little ways to go on that. Oh, that's that project. Let's see what else I'm working on. Okay. Oh, I have another Jenna Rose handmade project bag. It's so cute. I just love it. This is a project that is kind of on the back burner. I haven't worked on it for a little while. I was working on it around Christmas time, and then I just took a break from it. It's the Texture Stitch Wrap. I started this project back in November. I'm using the most beautiful yarn ever. So here it is so far. don't know if you can see the stitch. There you go. You can kind of see the stitch pattern. It's got, I believe, these 3 stitch patterns that repeat throughout the whole wrap. And again, it's kind of a wingspan, long rectangular wrap. I'm using Juniper Moon Farm yarn in Moonshine. It's got a really nice sheen to it. It's really, really soft. Almost sneezed. And this is the Seaside colorway. It's probably my most favorite color on the planet. It's so soft. And someday it'll be done. I'm hoping to get back to working on it. I really don't have very many projects that are like on my needles. Other than those 2, I think that's all I have going on right now. I did start some simple house slippers, which I see a lot of people knitting, and I don't know. I cannot wrap my head around this pattern, and I think it's because I'm a fairly new knitter and I don't really understand a lot of the terminology when it comes to knitting socks or slippers. This is kind of what I had done so far. You can kind of see this is the heel in a garter stitch, and that's the foot of the slipper, and I'm about at the point of doing the toe, like closing the toe up, and then I think you stitch the back of this. So I mean, they're coming out okay. I just really don't even really like how they look, so I think I'm going to frog this and use the yarn for a pair of socks. I've never knit socks, and I think it's probably time. So I actually bought a tutorial this morning. Oh, I didn't mention the yarn. This yarn is beautiful. It's actually from a local dyer who lives in Hamilton, New York, and her business name is called Knitting Noodles. And I met her at a show I did back in November. She had a booth at the show, and she and I did a little swap, and this was one of the yarns I got from her. It's silk and alpaca blend, and it's a DK weight. But anyway, I found a really cool pattern on Pinterest, believe it or not. And I had seen some of these videos online before, so I'm not a stranger to this woman's videos, but her business website is verypink.com, and her name is Staci Perry. And I bought the pattern for the German short row socks. And the reason why I like her patterns is because she lists out every single step. There is no like, it's not like I'm reading along the pattern and it says, you know, work an established pattern, or kind of things that only like an advanced knitter would really know how to read. It's really self-explanatory, and she has videos on the technique. So you can go and watch the video and then go back to your pattern and back to the video, back to the pattern, and I think that's a-okay. So I'm going to try them out. They don't really look too hard, and they call for a DK weight, which is what I'm going to do with this yarn. So, and I have other DK weight too, so in case I really like the pattern, I'll probably knit them again. Of course, the phone is ringing. Telemarketer. Awesome. So, okay, back to my thing here. So, that's what I'm going to end up working on next, is those socks. Now I'll talk to you about my recently finished objects. I have 3 to share. First up, I just off my needles this past weekend, is my Union Square Cowl. Now, I must admit, this might be bad, so I'm sorry. I saw the pattern on Ravelry. It's a paid-for pattern, and I thought it looked pretty self-explanatory, and so I just decided to wing it. and I didn't buy the pattern. I just made the cowl. So sorry. I'm sorry if that's bad. I don't know. I'm new. Don't be mad. This is a pattern by Jumper Cables, and I used Plucky Knitter Worsted yarn, which is this. It is so soft. If you ever have a chance to snag Plucky Knitter yarn, please do it. It is a pleasure to knit with. I've tried a couple of different things using it, and I absolutely love everything about it. This is the Wintry Mix colorway, and I paired it with some really cool, bright, variegated yarn by Western Sky Knits. And I bought this directly on their website. It is beautiful yarn. This colorway is called Stained Glass. I just really liked that variegated, different colors. It's almost a rainbow effect with the Wintry Mix. It's just really, really fun. This was an easy cowl pattern. It's really cute. It's really toasty warm, and it goes well with everything, every jacket I have. So I recommend that pattern if you have some extra time to knit that up. I also finished recently, this I'm really proud of. This is my Baa-Ble hat. This is also another pattern that people are knitting all over the dang place on the internet. It does usually have a pom-pom on the top. I'm not really a pom-pom type of girl, so I did it without the pom-pom. I actually knitted it a little big. I think my gauge is big. I have no idea. I've never knit a swatch. I just feel like it's a waste of time. And I'm an accessory knitter, so most of the time I can get away with not doing a swatch. If I start knitting sweaters someday soon, I'll probably have to do it. But didn't do it for this. This is my very first color work pattern that I've ever done. And it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And if you haven't tried color work, definitely try it. You can kind of see the backside is pretty cool. So you really just pull the yarn along, and at most I was working with 2 yarns, so it's really not bad. There are 3 main sections, the pink section, and then the sheep section, and then the blue section. I knit this hat in like probably, well, it took me 2 days, but I didn't knit on it all day long, obviously. I knit it a couple hours at a time. So I'm thinking maybe 6 or 7 hours it took me to do this. It was really not bad. So the yarn I used for the sheep is Succulent Fiber. It was an Aran weight MCN, which is Merino Cashmere Nylon Blend. And I got that yarn in the Fiberista Yarn Club that I'm a member of. The pink is Madeline Tosh Vintage in Sugar Plum. And the black I just got locally at the Michaels. It's Lion Brand Heartland, and the color is Black Canyon. And the blue is Plucky Knitter Primo Aran weight. And the little snowflakes is the same that I used, this Aran weight Succulent Fiber. I love how this turned out because the Succulent Fiber yarn has gray, a little gray and white kind of variations in it. And so it kind of looks like the sheep have, it just makes them really pop off of the background color. I just love it. It's a great hat. It's a little big, but I don't care. I love it. Definitely want to knit that one again. I know my sister really liked it, so I might knit her one. We'll see. So that I finished. Also recently participated in my very first knit along. And if you're a jewelry person and don't really know what that is, it's just basically a knitwear designer will host it. They'll offer the pattern, sometimes at a discount, And so, you know, as many people that want to join in, we all knit it together. We can upload our pictures on social media and share our progress. And then the designer offers some prizes and things throughout. The deadline for this one isn't until February 14th, but I, you know, signed up and got to work, so I ended up finishing it. I'm like one of the first people that ever finished it, I think. So it's hosted by Hey Lady Hey, and this is actually her design. It's called the Topography Kerchief. And she is a knitwear designer. She also dyes her own yarn. She also spins her own yarn. She's multifaceted. And for my kerchief, I use Miss Babs Northumbria DK weight in the coffee break colorway. And it's really beautiful. Browns and creamy whites and sage green and some dark blues. It's just really, really beautiful. The only thing I didn't like is that it's kind of small. And I think it was just because when I got to a certain point, I just felt like it was done, and I didn't know how big it was going to block out. So here it is. So it's really not very big, but I can kind of wear it as a scarf. It's cute. It's cute, I think. So if you have time and want to whip one of those up before February 14th, you can find her Ravelry group. I believe it's called Hey Lady Hey. So that's that. As for new yarn acquisitions, I've kind of been on a yarn diet because I've gone a little crazy. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that buys a lot of yarn. You know, when I started making jewelry, all I wanted to do was buy beads. And it's the same thing with my new hobby. All I want to do is buy yarn. The stash is getting out of control. I have it in several different places because I don't really want my husband to know how much yarn I've bought. I know it's bad. It's really bad. So I put myself on alright, so it wasn't a long diet. It was like a couple of weeks. Sorry, I did what I could. Till yesterday, I broke down and bought some. So I'll show that in my next podcast. But I bought some sock yarn from Eat Sleep Knit. That's one of my favorite websites ever. They send scratch-off tickets with, not like for the lottery, scratch-off tickets for store credit or free patterns. It's amazing. I always win something. It's amazing. The last one I won was $50 store credit, which is pretty damn good. I got 2 skeins of yarn in that. I bought Malabrigo sock yarn and Lorna's Laces sock yarn. And then I also bought some more fingering weight yarn for a new shawl pattern at knitpicks.com, which is another really great website. The yarn is so affordable, and it's really nice. I really like it. And I'll show you those in my next episode. As for jewelry, let's see. Yesterday, I just made one bracelet for the shop. It's listed. I can show it to you. It's a cute little pink number that has this little bird clasp on it, which I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's upside down. Little bird toggle. This is enameled from Art Incendi on Etsy. I have a little hollow polymer heart bead on there from Hollowology, and my embellished chain with matte peach colored Magatama seed beads, little riveted leather on there. So that's listed in my Etsy store currently. And then I also did 2 bracelets that were custom orders. And then as for new acquisitions, I recently got some beads from Diane Hawkey. Well, let me just introduce you to one cat. I have 2 cats. They're both black. This is Django. Django, say hello. He has a little bit of white on his chest. He's a big, big cat. He's a very big boy. And my other cat is his brother, Cassius, and he's a little smaller, but he is also jet black, all jet black. Are you gonna lay down? Okay. Okay, this is not, no, you probably can't. Sorry. Okay, so I got some beads from Diane Hawkey. She does ceramic work. She lives out in the Midwest. She's actually at Tucson, Arizona, the big bead show out there right now. And she updated her ad space on my blog. On my blog, I have a sidebar for ad space. So if any artists and bead makers are interested in having ad space, I am taking trades for beads. So Diane asked me what I wanted her to send, and I said, just send me something new and exciting, and then maybe some word beads, because I use those a lot. So she sent me a couple of these little word beads. This one says courage. Here's one that says love. And then she sent me a couple of her new pendants. These are fantastic. Little sun, little heart, little moon. These are so cool. And they have nice big loops on them, one at the bottom, one at the top. Sent me a couple funky donuts, the crow, and a little black cat, which I don't know if you can see him. He is so cute. So I'm excited to get those going in some designs, hopefully soon. I love ceramic beads. If I was ever to make beads, I definitely make ceramic beads because they are awesome. I also got some buttons from KB Jewelry Supplies. They're on Etsy. And I'm always looking for buttons, different kinds of buttons. And I've used these fox buttons before, but I bought them again. Little fox face. Cute, right? But I wanted to try out some new ones, so I got some brass owls. And I also got some little bees, silver colored bees. So those will be fun to use. And today I'm probably just going to work on some stuff for the shop again. Last week I ordered, finally, after a lot of time of not ordering any bead supplies because I was spending all my money on yarn, I was finally able to update my stock inventory of vintage brass company findings. So I reloaded up on jump rings and head pins and clasps. I was completely out. I was actually taking apart jewelry to use the findings. It was getting dire. And I was like, I can't, I have to. So I did it. And then I also placed a small order for fusion beads, and that order will come to me too this week. I got some chain, I got some beads, some seed beads, some glass melons that are really cool. What else? There might be some Green Girl Studio stuff in there too. I think I got little tiny bunny rabbit pewter charms and little bird charms. And the only publication I'm out currently that's brand new, I have 2 necklaces out in the brand new issue of Jewelry Stringy magazine for spring. And actually, a cool thing, one of the necklaces already sold to one of the editors at the magazine, so that was exciting. And then the other necklace is called Great Beauty, and has a bunch of artisan beads on it. It's a really cool necklace. That'll probably come back to me in a couple of months and will go in the Etsy store for sale. So I guess that's it for today. If you have any ideas on what my podcast should be called, please leave comments. I would love that. I need all the suggestions I can get. I'm going to try to keep the podcast down. I mean, it's only been 34 minutes. That's not too bad. I know sometimes I have a hard time watching podcasts that are at least an hour long. It's hard to put that much time into it when, I really should be getting my day going. But anyway, I'll probably try to get back here to do another podcast in a week or two, if not sooner. And if you like what you see, hopefully you'll come back for the second one. So thanks for stopping in. Again, I'm LoreleiEurto. You can find my jewelry at LoreleiEurto.com or LoreleiEurtoJewelry.com. And I'll see you on the flip side.